out of the moon's Kahlua lunacy, the blood-drunk offerings charge through the streets' crated barricades, neither at margarita capes nor toward sangria scars, but from the absinthe phantoms of cowed steer, grazing fat on the ranch, while the pricked stampede drives on with sheepish oxen for goatish mules in the mad glory of brute sacrifice to its own wild feast's malediction. Let the bullfight begin. All either kill or die, and may none but its dead be called living. Better to thrust lunging at the spear, heave up roaring for the sword, than be dragged off bellowing to the scissors. So do I in dedication bear such a throat to the horns, lay such limbs under the hooves, as sings its goring, as dance their trampling, your bullocked pigtail, my cocked ear. The next poem I'm reading because my dad requested it, so at this point you might want to rescind that request in the interest of time, but it's too late. Refers to a book by Gabriel Garcia Marquez called Chronicle of a Death Foretold, which I read had an impact on me, and I worked it in, and at the American Exile Writing Letters Home is reading that book, and it involves a very famous passage in it where a woman, Angela Vicario, there's a huge festival wedding in this town, and when this mysterious stranger named Boyardo San Ramon breezes in and pressures everyone and throws some money around, they marry. He marries this local girl, and then after this huge festival, he essentially returns the daughter to her mother as a very dissatisfied customer because she came to him no longer intact. So she had to leave in shame and repair to the mountains where she lived with her mother in disgrace sewing, and she wrote him letter after letter after letter, hoping he would someday come, much like the exile does himself. There you are. Chronicle of a Love Untold. Are you surprised to find me here? I never killed myself exactly, but I never lived again. I was willing to die that night for the disgrace I had brought my family and the disappointment I had proven to my new husband. But just the same, when Santiago Nassar was murdered by my brothers and I merely beaten by my mother, I was happy to be dead like this. Yes, I am still alive, in a manner of speaking, though for many years the only thing in these mountains to remind me of it was the strange fever I burned with since that day at the Hotel del Puerto, when I again laid eyes on the man who had once become my husband and my shame. Until, at last, so long after the bloody consummations of St. Cura and the violet dawn of the bishop, so far from the sight of the butcher's swinish slaughter of the cocksure Turk, there, with the 20 years of unopened letters it had taken to unseal him, wrapped in ribboned bundles under his arms, as he let the same silver-trimmed saddlebags he had been carrying the day I met him, a man not to be known at first sight, fall to the ground, stood my Bayardo San Roman, the man for whom I had let part of me die, and part of me live to remember. The next